Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Welcome to the channel. It's 2019. We have a whole slew of new tutorials for you this year. And the first one we're gonna do is gonna be right outside. Happy 2019, pupils. Welcome to the classroom. As you can see, we're conducting class outdoors today. And for today's Tech Thursday, we're gonna be doing how to sell your BMX bike. What it takes to get it all prepped, packaged, online, or wherever it is you're gonna sell it, and make it very desirable so you can get top dollar. So what are you gonna need? Well, first, as you can see here, we have a complete bike. This isn't the bike you're gonna have at home because yours is probably gonna be used, all tattered, and there's gonna be a lot of wear and tear. This one is all black and ready to go. But what I can show you are the things that make this bike desirable. And to start that off, paint and cleanliness. So that'll be the first thing on our list. So as you can see, there's no scratch marks. The best way to eliminate those are with spray paint. Most people's bikes out there are probably gonna be black or a dark color like a gray. This one is already there. But if it wasn't, take this bad boy out that you get at the Home Depot for about $2 and back to new. Also, when you're selling something, the reason you really want to clean it is so that it looks like something you're going to want to own, something that's not all janky. Another thing that it does is when you're cleaning around these like joints, you'll be able to see if there's any cracks. So that's something that's going to be very important when you're trying to sell your bike, because this is metal and there is a lot of wear and tear and bending and all sorts of slamming down on the bike. If all of these joints are clean, you can actually look at the welds and make sure that there are no cracks. The best rule of thumb for this is that you want to pretend you're the buyer. So when you're going to buy this bike, look through it and see the things that you would be looking out for to see that you're getting your bang for your buck. After you've checked for all sorts of like wear and tear, are replace tires, pedals, and grips. These are Krylon, it's like a form of rubber. These are fully rubber, and then the pegs are usually either metal or plastic, and your pedals can be metal or plastic as well. So those are things that if they're really worn, if you have like all sorts of, and let me show you a pair. Okay, I swear there was some in here. There they are. Okay, these are a terrible BMX pedal. I think they're off a little bike, but as you can see, there's always gonna be like tatteredness on the edges. So it's just easier to replace these. They're gonna cost you like 12 to 16 bucks, 20 at the most, but it'll definitely go a long way in getting someone to buy the bike. Okay, so let's say you've gone and replaced the tires, the pegs, and maybe just the grips, right? Make sure that everything that's on the bike is something you're willing to give up. Because you always have to remember, there's gonna be someone that's gonna come and lowball you. And lowballers, when you're making sales, are the worst. But if you have an answer for everything that they have asked you, then they can't really get too much out of you. Cover all your bases and you'll have less haggling to do. Okay, so let's assume that the bike is looking very clean. You have it all assembled properly like it should be, and all the things that have any kind of blemishes have been replaced. Now, the best thing to do is take some good photos. Steven, my cameraman here, is actually a really good photographer. So some of the tips that he's given me are lighting and composition, obviously, but angles, you know? Pretend this is your bae, or pretend it's your selfie for your Tinder profile. You're gonna wanna make sure your bike looks the best it can. So I always recommend taking more shots than less. Shoot it from every possible angle. You want a very straightforward shot that showcases like the whole bike in totality. I would recommend it anywhere from 10 to 12. Once you have the shots, you wanna upload them to the profile. We're gonna be, you know, showcasing your bike. So if it's an Instagram or a Facebook or a Twitter or your Tinder profile, whatever that may be, you wanna make sure you have all those bikes in a good order. So you wanna, again, make sure you have like the straightforward shot, then the details, make sure that you have like the cranks, the sprocket, the hubs, and all those little details. Speaking of details, now you have the photos and you're ready to list your bike. The important thing that you want to do is maybe use like a keyword search engine and make sure that you have all the things listed on your bike. If you have a custom complete versus like a complete bike that this is, so this is a Stranger Zia Complete, shout out to Nate Richter. So you can list that as the 2019 Stranger Complete Nate Richter and include Primo in the title because there are Primo components. But if you built your bike from the ground up, then you want to detail every single part of the componentry that you got on that bike. So for example, let's say this is a different bike. This was a Stranger Zia frame with a Primo Nair stem with some Stranger forks, and then you had profile cranks with a Primo bottom bracket. You want to make sure every single one of those keywords is there. One thing you don't want to do is put other keywords that don't have anything to do with your bike. So don't call this a Stranger Colt Shadow on some shit frame. You want to call it very specific titles because then it just throws off the internet. You don't want to ruin the internet, do you? No. So make sure you label everything appropriately, and yeah, make sure again you detail all the parts. Since you built it, you should know what every single component is, all the measurements and all the details, and make sure it's all accurately represented. You also want to make sure that you put the details as in like the top tube is a 20.75 with the height, if you know it, of the bottom bracket, as well as the length of the back end. Make sure you list, oh, I've ridden this bike 25 times in the last like month or I only rode it twice in 1 year. All those details will help make sure that you have all that stuff squared away before you even start talking about money, because it's kind of awkward when you have it set at $2,000, but it's a really $400 bike. It's gonna be a weird day for you. You don't wanna get your heart broken, you know, when essentially you thought you were gonna get 1,000 and you got 250 bucks. Speaking of the price, one of the best things you can do is search for comparables. So again, maybe type in Stranger Complete 2018 or 2019 bike on whatever search engine you're using and see what the bikes are going for. You know, if all the bikes are going for 500 and you're expecting to get 1,000, not gonna happen. But if you find bikes that are like 750 bucks and yours has a couple components that add up a little more than that, then that's something you might be able to get away with or negotiate with that person. Again, every transaction is gonna be different. There's not gonna be one universal answer for everything, since every person and, you know, bike and just the way you guys interact is gonna be dynamic. Speaking of all of that, where are you gonna sell your bike? Well, I personally recommend using some of the bigger names. So if you're on social media and you wanna get rid of your bike, which is something I recommend to address first, because if you post it on your Instagram, maybe that person isn't necessarily your friend, but they're a friend of a friend. Well, now you actually have a reputation, and that person would be more willing to take your word on whatever this bike is worth because they know someone that you know, or they might know you directly. So maybe even ask your friends ahead of time before you actually list it. Once you have done so, and let's say it is a person that you know or a friend of a friend, then you can meet with that person and that other significant other, and you guys can all kind of like agree on something, and maybe you could buy your friend lunch since he set you guys up. If you're using something else like a Craigslist or an OfferUp, then that's cool because you're meeting a stranger. You might not necessarily have to haggle as much on price, or you don't have to hook them up since you really don't know them. But since there is no reputation there, you're gonna have to, again, rely on details, rely on like the pictures and all this other stuff if they don't live within your immediate proximity. One thing about Craigslist and OfferUp, since you're meeting strangers, if you're under 18, or even if you're 18 or 19, go with your parents. Why not? They'll be there to look out for you. My brother met up with someone off OfferUp and he was robbed at gunpoint, so it's something I don't recommend. If you are going to meet up with someone and your parents can't accompany you or your friends can't, then make sure you do it in a very public place, like a Starbucks, at a mall, at a gas station, at your Tinder dates, like backyard, somewhere where you feel safe. Once you are there, you're gonna have to, like, you know, agree on terms and everything like that. And again, if you rely on the details and the pictures and everything ahead of time, it's less awkward. Now, the one that I recommend the most, but that has like a little bit more of constraints, would be using something like an eBay. Now, eBay probably has like the biggest pool of people checking it out. It's a bid system, or you can do buy it now. There's gonna be a lot of similar bikes or similar componentry on there, so you'll be able to like weigh your options, and they actually even refer the price that you should put on there. But the thing with that is that you have to compensate for the eBay fees, the PayPal fees, because unlike in my day where you used to have to sell it, then wait for them to mail you a check, and once the check's on the way, they're like, yo, send me the bike, and the check never came, then you want to kill them, you don't want blood on your hands. Trust me, been there, you don't want that. Something you want to deal with less is the shipping aspect. Now, as you can see, this is a complete bike. It's already disassembled. We already have all the means, and like I said, we have a box here. So once this bike's all ready to go, we disassemble it. We have all this packaging, there's like padding, and there's an actual box. All that stuff costs money, you know? For us, yeah, we're throwing it away. So if you hit up something like an On Some Shit, we might have one for you. But if you don't, now you have to buy all these things. Wrapping tape, wrapping paper, padding, I don't even know what this is, but you'll have to put all that on the bike. Then you have to ship it in this box. If you don't have a bike shop near you and you can't find one of these boxes, you're gonna have to get like a custom corrugated box somewhere, and that's anywhere from like 10 to 30 bucks. You probably don't even want to spend, because that now lowers your bottom line, and you haven't even shipped this bad boy yet. So once you do get that bike in there and it's all ready to go, now you're looking at another between 50 to 150, and that's just in the US. If you're shipping internationally, that could go up to like 400 or 500 bucks. So, you know, the best bet is to hit up a local bike shop, or again, just sell it somewhere near you so you don't have to even worry about that. Just in the description, put local pickup only. If not, and you have to do that stuff, the best routes are to go to a FedEx, a UPS, or a USPS, and the USPS is the United States Postal Service. I usually recommend that one the best because it's the cheapest, but if you want something effective and they even offer boxes for you, FedEx, UPS, or DHL, those are the ways to go. In between all of the different ways you can get rid of your bike, whether it is Instagram, Facebook, eBay, Craigslist, or OfferUp, one thing that you're gonna have to cope with no matter what is the price and lowballers. And that's just a part of life, you know? As a business or as a person that's conducting the sale, you have to expect that you're trying to get the most. So you want to set up the bike the best to get the most. As a consumer, as a person that's trying to buy this bike, you're trying to make sure that you get your bang for your buck. So when you're gonna come here, you're gonna nitpick. Oh, okay, well, this bottom bracket's scratched up, this tire's worn, blah, blah, blah. You asked for 200, I'm gonna give you 100. And that's where you kind of have to take it lightheartedly and make a decision. Are you gonna negotiate? Are you gonna remove certain things? Like, yeah, I'll give you this bike for 200 bucks, but I'm taking the tires. That's awkward. But if the guy agrees to it, then hey, it's a deal. But if not, then it's like, well, let's meet halfway. One thing that a lot of people don't like to do is just say no. And yeah, it's a little awkward. You know, that person might have driven a long way, but they're not willing to pay the price that you're willing to get for the bike, then don't sell it. And if you're the consumer and they're not willing to negotiate with you, then there's something fishy maybe, or they're just firm and they might have put that in the description. Again, all this stuff could be squared away with earlier on as long as you have a good description and a good rapport with that person. You know, you're talking it over. If you guys are both happy, then hey, 150 bucks, somewhere in between. Use a calculator, figure it out. Maybe you can take Bitcoin, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to do this. But I think that covers the majority of this. And I know I rambled on for about 10 or 12 minutes, but if you have questions, or if you want me to do an even more thorough video on this, there's 362 more days in this year that I can create content like this. So leave it in the description. Let me know if you like this video. Let me know what was helpful, what was not, what I need to cover on. Maybe I'll do a more thorough video. And if you do enjoy it, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Follow On Some Shit and follow myself on Instagram at Alfredo Mancuso. Follow the Come Up. We're dropping a lot of new content on there. And if you're ever in LA, come visit us at On Some Shit. We're here 7 days a week, 11 to 8. And that's about it. We have a new clothing line. Go to visit onsomeshit.com and get it. And yeah, that's it. Be happy. Go buy a bike. Go sell a bike. Just don't steal a bike. All right, I'm out.